I also know that the future can be uncertain. Our economy is now recovering, but it's not yet where it needs to be.
President Obama on the economy. Paul Limna in the Morning Update. We need to move our visit with our correspondent in Florida on the Trayvon Martin case to 7:10. Program note for you there. Instead, let's take up a column that's got the financial world buzzing. It comes from Stephen Marsh. He's a Canadian author and columnist in Esquire magazine, who wrote that the American dream is basically over. We are now a class system in this country. Stephen Marsh joins us from Toronto this morning. And what you're saying here, Stephen, is if your daddy was rich, you're going to stay rich. If your daddy was poor, you're going to stay poor. Come on. The American dream can't be dead.
Well, I mean, the numbers are very clearly there. I mean, the research is, really not debatable. And the fact that America is now one of the countries with the least social mobility in the world. And the reason that's so upsetting is because the ideas of America, the ideals of America, are based so clearly on social mobility and so clearly on you can make it if you try.
We seem to bump into a lot of young Portlanders who have just sold a new high-tech company for millions. We just
You bump into a lot of them?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
You're luckier than me.
Well, for another example might be these two college grads never made a dime from their picture-taking app Instagram. They sell it to Facebook for $1 billion. I mean, isn't that stuff what the American dream is made of?
Those are very, very isolated cases. I mean, not a lot of people are selling programs for $1 billion. I think the larger question that you might want to look at is how many people a massive company like Facebook employs in America, which is actually a tiny little fragment, like 20,000 people, I think, for a company that's, some people have estimated at $100 billion. The usual deal, the deal that I remember from the 80s and when I was a kid, was that you would give large companies freedom. They would do what they do, and that would produce jobs that would then produce a middle class, which would produce opportunities for everybody. That is broken. That is not happening. And I think the sooner we recognize it, the sooner we can realize that we have to change how this is going to work. Or, what I argue in the piece is we have to at least stop pretending that the old ways are still going on as if nothing has changed, because everything has changed.
As you know, you've launched quite a conversation from people who have read your column and disagree with it. I read one writer this morning who said, no, what Stephen is writing about is a symptom, not the disease, that corporate greed and the lack of regulation set us on the wrong track, but that's what he's writing about is not the big problem.
Look, I really feel like most of the debate around this it's just simply, it's an old debate and that doesn't apply to him. What I'm saying is not conservative or left wing. It really isn't, because I don't believe that conservatives or, the fiscally conservative people say want to live in a country where there's less opportunity. They just don't, and I don't think left wing people, on the other hand, I don't think there's a huge group of people who have this class resentment about how much money, I don't care if Mitt Romney has an electric garage, but however, it does matter if people can't make it. If there isn't the opportunity for people to make it, that's much more serious. And I think, these old debates about, entitlement, government spending versus private sector liberation they just don't apply because the way that this structure has happened is not creating the opportunities that were the defining narrative. The narrative has altered, and we just need to face up to that reality.
So if you're a parent in America and want to tell your kid, hey, you can make it if you work hard enough, what's the message? You've got to find a new way of making it?
Well, the average American parent, regardless of income, spends 10% of their income on their adult children. Okay, I mean, this is shocking, and I've done the research. I have a new piece in Esquire about youth and the economic reality of youth. And when you go through those numbers, what you see is that these kids are extremely educated. They're extremely hardworking. They are, if you go through the National Center for Education Research, they are conservative in everything but their economic outlook, because they care more about their families than than people did 30 years ago. They care more about having a good job than people did 30 years ago. But they don't get the opportunities. Only 54% of 18 to 24-year-olds in America are currently employed. That's the lowest number it has ever been since they started keeping records. This is really shocking, and it is not something that can be talked away with the thing of, well, just let things roll out the way that they have been going, because it just isn't going to work.
Author and columnist Stephen Marsh creating a buzz with his January column in Esquire, "We Are Not All Created Equal." Stephen, thanks much. Let's talk again.
It was a pleasure.